Hello everyone, welcome to A Clear Perspective. I'm Serene. In the past 7 days, we have been banned by YouTube from posting anything on our channel. One of our videos about the Arizona audit got a strike, and then we got punished. It seems like 1984 is right here in the United States. We are being censored by the big tech tyranny. Anyway, we will try our best to practice free speech here. Thank you for your continuous support. Let's start today's topic. The infighting within the Chinese Communist Party has been so fierce that it delayed its Sixth Plenary Session of the 19th Central Committee. Finally, the announcement was made that the session will be held on November 8th. The timing is highly delayed compared to prior sessions. In the past, the Sixth Plenary Session was usually held in September or October, but this time it got dragged out until November. Postponing the session indicates that there are many conflicts among the CCP with no room for compromise. On October 18th, CCP official media Xinhua News Agency reported that the session will be held in Beijing from November 8th to 11th, during which a key resolution on the major achievements and the historical experience of the party's 100 years of endeavors will be reviewed. There were only 2 resolutions made during the party's history. The first was called Resolution on Certain Issues in the History of the CCP, released in 1945. Mao Zedong took the lead in passing this resolution, which confirmed his dominance in the party. The other one was led by Deng Xiaoping and passed in 1981. It is called the Resolution on Certain Questions in the History of Our Party since the founding of the People's Republic of China. This resolution set the tone for admitting that the Cultural Revolution was a mistake. It also ushered China into the era of reform and opening up, and established Deng Xiaoping as the core leader of the party. Now, Xi Jinping is going to go over the third historical resolution during the Sixth Plenary Session. He is trying to use it to establish a legacy for himself. He is hoping to leave his mark in history similar to Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping. He wants the Chinese people to completely step into the Xi era from top to bottom with no turning back. So, what are the historical achievements of Xi Jinping? I guess it will be his artificial achievements of comprehensive poverty eradication and common prosperity for everyone. On December 31st, 2020, he claimed that poverty had been eradicated in China. This year, he started to emphasize the policy plan of common prosperity, especially the construction of the 3 distributions. But in reality, Xi Jinping is not aiming to eradicate poverty comprehensively, nor is he bringing common prosperity to the people. It's more accurate to say that steering China into another poverty would be his true political achievement. In addition, Xi Jinping probably thinks that he could realize the most fundamental mission of the party, which is to dominate the globe and raise the CCP's red flags all over the world. During Mao's era, the CCP's slogan was "Liberate all mankind." Now, in Xi's era, the slogan changed to "Building a community with a shared future for mankind." The resolution is very important for Xi Jinping because it is a prerequisite for his third term. He needs to create the legitimacy for his third term out of thin air and put it into this resolution. And for this very reason, right before the session, we found that Xi made not just 1 but 2 concessions on rare occasions. The first one is that Jack Ma actually went abroad. The reason we use the word "actually" here is that, as you may know, Ma's situation has been worsening at a near free-fall rate since the Ant Group IPO was halted by Xi Jinping directly. So when the news broke On October 19th, Ma had left Hong Kong in the early morning of last Saturday, taking an overnight flight to Spain after a series of business meetings in Hong Kong. It quickly became a hot news item because everyone knew that Jack Ma's grounding was lifted, which meant, at least for this moment, CCP had no plans to knock him down. His company, Alibaba's stock price started to rebound as well. The report also said Ma was accompanied by a number of wealthy friends. They traveled to Spain in 2 private jets, one after the other. For now, we can't be sure whether Ma is like a bird free out of the cage or a kite with its lifeline in someone's hands. But one thing is certain. Jack Ma can go abroad for vacation. At least that means he has temporarily passed the peak of this round of regulatory storm. The price he paid to buy himself out is tens of billions of dollars. On August 17th, right after Xi Jinping publicly proposed to promote common prosperity, on September 2nd, Zhejiang News reported that Alibaba Group has quickly launched 10 actions and will invest 100 billion yuan by 2025 to help with the goal. When China's National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC, just came up with a draft request for comments on the policy that non-public capital should not engage in news gathering and broadcasting, Jack Ma immediately gave a resounding answer with his actions, absolutely no objections. Jack Ma bought Mango Excellent Media in September, less than a year ago, and suddenly liquidated all of his shares. He transferred his shares of Xis Media only 4 days after the announcement of the NDRC. He acted quickly, but also maintained a rare silence, especially when he lost billions at the same time. This is the effect that the Chinese authorities wanted. And less people in the world see how Jack Ma, who was once unruly and rebellious, is now submissive. On the other hand, Jack Ma is not an isolated individual, but behind him are Jiang Zemin's families and the families of other CCP Standing Committee members. So, if Jack Ma is free again, it means that the Standing Committee of the Jiang Zemin era still can protect him, or at least they have the power to negotiate with Xi Jinping. The fact that Jack Ma is able to leave the country shows that a balance has been achieved between the different factions. Almost all of these large private enterprises in China have gone through such a process. In the beginning, they developed quietly on their own. When they reached a particular scale, the CCP elites become jealous. They wanted to come in and get a share of the pie. They want to buy the shares. People cannot refuse them. At the third stage, it becomes impossible to distinguish between you and them, and you are bound to be involved in a full-scale political struggle at the top. For Jack Ma, even if he can go abroad, it doesn't mean that he has gotten rid of the dilemma. The best thing for him to do is to stay overseas and not return to China. Most of China's private tycoons wind up in jail unless you are a second-generation princeling. Next, let's talk about Xi Jinping's second concession, which is the property tax. On October 15th, Qiu Shi, the flagship magazine of the CCP Central Committee, published an article by Xi Jinping titled "Concrete Action Needed to Promote Common Prosperity." The main points of this article are obvious: to regulate the excessive income and to promote property tax. But the Wall Street Journal broke an exclusive story on October 19th that Xi Jinping faces resistance to property tax plan from within the party. According to the article, arguments against the tax, which would be levied annually on the value of a property, have flooded in since the Ministries of Finance, Housing and Taxation started to seek feedback to the tax proposal in the spring. The feedback to his property tax plan from both the party's elites and its rank-and-file members has been overwhelmingly negative. Han Zheng, the most senior of China's 4 vice premiers, is in charge of the task of rolling out the property tax promotion, but he is among those who oppose it. You can imagine how much resistance Xi Jinping is encountering. The report said an initial proposal to test run the tax in some 30 cities has been scaled back to just around 10. And a new law aimed at advancing the tax across the country likely won't be finalized until around 2025. Why do so many party officials oppose it? We all know that common prosperity is not only Xi Jinping's economic policy, but also his major political line. The property tax is the first shot he took to define his line. The so-called common prosperity is nothing more than a legal robbery, or in the words of the people, robbing the rich to help the poor. But in reality, the real purpose of the CCP is not to help the poor, but to help the officials or to help the party. The reason behind this is very straightforward. Xi Jinping has no more money in his pocket. At the same time, he wants to expand his army to prepare for war to attack on Taiwan, but also to engage in an arms race with the United States, Japan, Australia, and other countries. And against the backdrop of a huge increase in spending, the domestic economy has experienced a significant decline. We only need to take a brief look at this year's GDP data. In the first quarter, due to export growth caused by the pandemic, the CCP's GDP growth was once as high as 18.3%, but it was immediately cut back to 7.9% in the second quarter. In the third quarter, it fell sharply to only 4.9%. That is the official data. So Xi Jinping's idea is very simple. Once there's not enough money, he will grab it from the Chinese people. Well, it's decorated as common prosperity. But if there are levies of property tax in a large area, housing prices and the land prices are bound to be affected. The real estate market may collapse, and the main source of local finance, which is the land sales, will halt. As a result, bad debts of all levels of governments will turn up. That will result in great financial risks. I believe it is the reason that numerous CCP officials have formed a consensus against the property tax. For Xi Jinping, obtaining another term is his primary and ultimate goal. Whether or to what extent the property tax is feasible is not his core interest. So once again, Xi Jinping compromised. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time.